Hey, welcome to Four Birdies, the podcast.
Live.
And we're live. And we're doing it live! Dave, how you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you doing, Alex?
I'm doing pretty good. My fantasy football team did lay down a whooping today, or I guess
Doing
this
by
weekend.
4 points or something?
No, I won by about 35 or 40 points, despite Kittle having 3 touchdowns. I still won by that many.
You were playing against Kittle. Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't personally.
No, not in real life. So you were playing Sean's team then?
Yeah, my team played Sean's team, correct?
So Sean's like going to be 0-5 now.
He's 0-5, yeah.
And he's played fantasy football before, right? Is that why he's not on tonight?
But hey, don't rest assured. He's told me about all the other leagues that he's doing well in. But DJ Moore.
You have DJ Moore?
No, that's he told me. He said, but DJ Moore, he's in my other league. He did put up a lot of points in that league, but that's not the league we're talking
I'm
about.
getting totally stomped by Justin. I don't think I know who Justin is.
No.
There's no way. I mean, there's nothing I could have done. He puts up over 200 points in a Yahoo league. That's hard to come back from.
Yeah, well, you've got we have the 3 receivers, so that I think that helps out a good 20 points, good 15 to 18 points maybe. But yeah, I got off the schneid, buddy.
You're 61. That's better than I thought.
I know, thank you. And if you
Don't get used to it though. Next week you're back to shit in the bed.
80, 81, 86, yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I've got Cleveland's defense. I got lucky
with Dalvin Cook in your starting lineup, but you know it's pretty desperate if you've got Dalvin Cook in your start. Not even a flex spot. He's your starting running back.
Well, Gibbs is injured, and Charbonnet for Seattle, he had a bye. So I don't know if that's how you say his name, but he's the running back 2 in Seattle.
I've heard Charbonnet and Charbonnet, so I would think it's Charbonnet.
Are we American or are we French? I mean, we're more German than we are French, so.
So, you know what? I saw some concerning takes on Jahmyr Gibbs. Basically, he's not going to be a guy that's going to get a lot of usage based on the game scripts the Lions are going to have. So he's more of like a, hey, you're playing from behind, you got to pass the ball a lot. You're not really going to be needing him as much. You look at the schedule for the Lions, and they're kind of considered favorites for a lot of games going forward. So I don't know if Gibbs is going to get the fantasy usage that, you'd want. Is it going to be Montgomery's backfield if the Lions keep playing how they play? That's kind of what I heard. So what do you think?
I mean, look at A-Chain, my boy A-Chain. I mean, you got Mostert, and then
Your boy, you dropped him.
I dropped him. I dropped A-Chain. He just wasn't giving me any points. I had to drop him. Then he put up that 50 burger. That was rough.
His knee, just so you know, he has an injured knee, and they haven't said how severe it is.
Okay.
So
You're not going to bait me into becoming happy
I'm
for
not
some
thinking
dude's
he really
injury.
he's tending to a knee injury right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you're running that fast, then your knees are moving faster than the normal person. So it's there's a lot more wear. So
Yeah.
But-
I drafted him in a league that only has like 5 bench spots.
Mhm.
And so first week I had to drop him. I was like, I can't have a guy on my team who's inactive.
yeah,
And so I dropped him. And I was like,
right. But you had a good point with Dalvin Cook, not by choice. They were playing Denver, so I did think if Denver's defense was so porous, I thought, okay, well maybe he's they'll punch him in for a touchdown or 2. I thought maybe they were playing Denver's defense, so that's why I didn't draft or I didn't pick anybody else up on waivers or anything. I just had a tough week for. I had a lot of buys, so I had about 4 different positions were in a bye week. So, but it worked out really well because I had the Saints defense and they gave me 26 points when otherwise I 100% would have played the Browns defense and they had a bye. So that was fortuitous. That worked out really well. And Hurts was Hurts, and then
you got Birdie. What I would do if I were you right now is you don't need 2 high-end quarterbacks. You need to trade one of those guys and get a running back.
I already tried to trade Purdy. So here's the thing. Purdy's one of the best statistical football players in the best QBs in the league right now. I think he leads the league actually right now in QBR. Purdy, Mr. Relevant, over like the likes of Mahomes, but he's not like he had a 20.
He's not going to command a trade. He's not going to get you much value.
He's not he's not a fantasy football numbers guy. He was 20 of 21, okay? 20 of 21 2 weeks ago, and he beat Steve Young's record for most highest percentage of receptions. Steve Young was 18 of 20 and he throws 20 of 21. But they don't factor that the efficiency into the rating, right? Into the numbers for fantasy. Obviously, that's not how it works. So he's not going to be like your huge number fantasy guy. I mean, he might one week, sure, but
listen, all I'm saying is in your position right now, in like second to last place or nearly,
I'm
last
2 and
place,
3.
What?
I'm 2 and 3. What do you mean? What?
You're towards bottom. What I'm saying is you've got two great quarterbacks. It doesn't do you any good to have two great quarterbacks. You need to trade Hurts and get everything you can get for him right now, and then start Purdy the rest of the way. Because no one's going to give you fair value for Purdy if you traded him. They wouldn't give you much, but you could get a lot for Hurts. So
I think you're right.
I mean, I don't know what will happen with that trade and see. Obviously you just traded him. He went off for like 50 points.
Who's that, Chase?
Yeah, I don't know if he knew that you traded him away. But if I'm you, and I'm in your position, I'm trading away one of those quarterback assets. Because you got to think about it like this: you're going to start. If you just had one of them, you'd start them every single week. You would never have to worry about it, right? What's the point of having two every week starting quarterbacks?
Injuries, baby. I mean, injuries.
No,
you do it for every other position.
Injuries right now. It's a 12-team league. You got to start racking up wins. You can't sit there and be conservative and worry about, I need to have a backup quarterback that I might play in week 14 if someone gets hurt just in case. And meanwhile, you're under 500 and you miss the playoffs.
Look, brother. I was 0-3. I'm content with anywhere I go now.
I'm just saying.
I was on 3.
Here's the thing: trade one of them and just pick up another quarterback. There's other quarterbacks on the waiver that would be good for like a backup.
Yeah, I picked up Howell last week, and then I was like, well, I mean, do I need 3 quarterbacks right now? I'm not going to drop Purdy, so then I let go of Howell, and he was floating out there, so I'd want to secure him. Might want to look about that right now. But and this is gonna make really good content. So we're gonna transition to the technical difficulties page. Oh no, we've had technical difficulties. Oh, this is really tough. Oh no, we'll be right back. We're coming. Oh hey, what's up, Dave? How you doing? Yep, I think Howell is on the waivers. Did you just try to get him?
Talking about Sam Howell? No.
No. Okay.
Well, I wouldn't be able to. I think for next year we got to switch it to Fab dollars instead of waiver order.
Fab dollars instead of yes. Okay. I yeah, like you talked about. Yes, I agree.
If I'm Sean, I'm pretty disappointed right now. He had Kittle go off, Breece Hall go off. Tua had a pretty decent game, but his receivers, man, whoa.
Well, he didn't have T. Higgins to play.
2 points. That is true. He benched McLaughlin. Why do you get a guy like McLaughlin off waivers and you put him on your bench when you're winless? It's like, dude, why are you even taking the guy if you're not going to start him? Come on, Sean, you're better than that.
Wow, shots fired.
Yeah, no. The only thing I don't know, the Patriots played at 1:00, and the thing with McLaughlin is they weren't sure if Javonte was gonna be on a snap count or not until it was like a game time decision. So it would have been a gutsy move to put McLaughlin in.
Is his name Javonte McLaughlin?
The Patriots have been playing like crap. And
I noticed. I've got New Orleans defense.
Yeah, I don't know. I just wonder if Sean was on here to defend himself, he'd have to explain.
But he's not. Because he's tired. I'm tired. Look at me. I have to go to bed. So this dude's name is the guy's name really Javonte McLaughlin?
Javonte Williams. was who was potentially injured. Yeah, so he put
I see.
Devontae
Okay.
Parker, and there's like three.
I don't know these guys. That's
single-digit point production.
That's why I'm not winning.
Khalil McLaughlin, he picked him up and put him on the bench. It just doesn't make any sense.
And this is a Patriot?
This is a Bronco.
A Bronco. A Bronco.
Yeah,
a Bronco.
He stepped in, got more looks than Samaje Perine. I know that's not a made up name. That's a real guy.
He got more looks than Samaje P. Ryan.
You think I'm making up names right now?
No, it just flowed. I like that. That was good.
So I just feel like Sean maybe did it to himself a little bit. But he still would not have beat you, I guess, so it doesn't matter.
He also played, was it Washington's defense? And he started
for that.
He started -1 to go into the weekend, so that probably didn't help. And the Jets would have given him 18 points. So that would have been a swing of 19 points. And plus, Skittles going off, he still wouldn't have beaten me.
What's the phrase? If ifs and buts were candies and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. You never know.
Yeah.
At the time. I don't think that was a bad start.
No, well, yeah, it was a -1 start. Is that what you're referring to, or?
What I mean is, I don't think it was a bad move to start that
I
team.
see, yeah.
Well, it didn't work out, but you never know that all of a sudden Justin Fields is going to go off, score 40 points against you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was his week.
People were writing Justin Fields off like 2 weeks ago. They were like, are the Bears going to part ways with him? Is he droppable? And now he's put up two pretty decent performances in a row.
Well, and Eberflus might have been on the hot seat too. He might have been Elegonzo. If they would have kept at the rate they were. I mean, they lost that. What was the Broncos game? Didn't they lose that one when they were up like 28-7, and then the Broncos came back?
Blow the lead to the Broncos.
Yeah, to the Broncos. They're terrible. They're a garbage team. Sorry, Sean Payton.
You know what's funny is Sean Payton was talking smack about Nathaniel Hackett last
Buddy
year.
Wackett?
Having the worst
History
effort of all time, and then that guy just beat you now. That guy's an offensive coordinator, just beat you. That's got to feel pretty bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's karmatic justice. That's a definition of karmatic justice.
Is that what they say?
Well,
Did you go to the game? Did you go to the Lions game?
Yeah, I went to the game. I made this shirt for the game, yeah. Can you read it?
Just here for the Kool-Aid. Is it Kool-Aid or Kool-Aid? No one says Kool-Aid. That's what it is.
Nobody does say Kool-Aid, but I wore that.
Where'd you sit?
I sat in the 300, so it was I sat way up there. But we saw a lot of touchdowns in the first half over on our side of the field, so that was pretty cool. And
who all went to the game?
It was my two kiddos, and then Jeremiah and his wife and his son, and then Drew and Lucas from the fantasy league.
Okay.
Yeah.
I noticed. I don't think you guys told me about it. Was the invite? Did it get lost in the mail or something?
No, but I have to tell this story. I really shouldn't tell this story, but it's one of the more humiliating things I've done in my life. And we have one of our buddies, Justin, who's also, there's a text thread between Drew and Lucas and Justin and me, so the four of us are on it. We've been on it for like 7 years or something, talk about the Lions. We just talk about the Lions. And maybe marriage or something, I don't know, a kid or something, but the four of us were going to go, so Drew, Lucas, Justin, and me, and I, and then Jeremiah was going to go with his wife and his son, and then I was going to bring Cyrus. And Justin had to drop out, unfortunately, and I put he texted out in the group thread, he said, hey, I can't make it, I'm sorry, it's just I've got too much going on. So we had an extra ticket. Drew immediately, he's like, hey, I've got a buddy who wants to go. I'll Venmo you the money. So he Venmos me money for his friend to go. So then we've got that ticket taken care of, right? So I would have thought, because it's like Wednesday night before the game's on Sunday. It's like Wednesday night, I'm traveling, I'm in DC, and I'm talking to my kids on the phone. And, my daughter's never been to a Lions game. I must have been on another plan because I spaced out so hardcore that last ticket was taken, and I was like, Vita, I want to take you to the game. Like, can I take you? I mean, like, I hope you would go, and like it would be a lot of fun. You'd have a really good time, and I don't know what to do because we have an extra ticket. So, and she's like, okay, let me think about it. She tells me tomorrow, okay, yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun, or she tells me the next day, sounds like a lot of fun, and so we get all geared up, we make all the plans, and the day, Sunday rolls around, and I have Cyrus, and we leave to go, Jeremiah and his wife and son, they hop in the van, and we drive over, pick up Avita, and we all get down to Detroit, and we have the 6 of us, but then Drew and Lucas, they are in Detroit, like maybe, I think they were kind of pre-gaming a little bit, and then they went to News Center, they probably parked in News Center, and they took the train down to the stadium, to Ford Field, and they got there later than we did. And we got in, the 6 of us got in, and I transferred the 2 tickets. And so the 6 of us go to our seats, and Drew calls me. He's like, hey, dude, you only transferred me 2 tickets. And I was like, yeah? He's like, well, my buddy, there are 3 of us. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I Venmo'd you that money, like, right away. Remember, I told you that my buddy's going. Like, you're joking, right? And I was like, I'm looking at Avita, and I'm like, no, unfortunately, I'm not joking, Drew. I think I might have just really fucked up. I think I might have just fucked up really, really badly.
Yeah.
And I'm still on the phone. I'm just going to put my hand down. And he's like, dude, tell me you're just joking with me, right? You're just joking.
We're not joking.
I was like, dude, I don't know how I did that. I think I just majorly fucked up.
Your daughter stole the ticket.
Yeah, my daughter stole the ticket. And
she didn't have to, like, leave for outside the stadium for 4 hours. Did the buddy get a ticket then?
The buddy did not get a ticket.
What did he do?
The buddy lives in Detroit, and he must be a buddy because
He just brought him home, no big deal.
I thought maybe he had traveled in from somewhere, and he just came to Detroit for the game, and so I thought maybe he would have gone to a bar, like super dejected, really bummed out. And so I turned to Drew and I gave him some money. I was like, here, will you give this to him? Like, I'll buy his food, buy his, drinks and all that. I feel so badly. He's like, dude, don't worry about it. It's okay.
Didn't he have to scalp the ticket or something?
He could have. Yeah, he could have scalped one, I'm sure, if he really, but he's not in there with his buddies. And I don't know who this guy is.
Section.
But he's a fellow Detroit Lion, and I just did him dirty, and I just want to, like, get it off my chest.
Shout out you can give to him. What's his name?
I don't know his name. Let me find out his name. I don't know his name, but I don't, like, even if we had him on the podcast.
Matt?
What's that?
Is it Matt Iverson? No?
Even if we find out who it is, then it's going to be way too fresh for him to want to come on. Like, he's going to be so angry and pissed.
Here's the thing. That kind of thing makes for a funny story, and it's not the worst thing that could happen to you.
Right.
Like, so he could have bought a ticket off of a scalper and gone into the game.
There were seats right in front of us. There were seats directly in front of us that we rested our coats in.
Okay. What an awkward scenario. At least you were in the stadium at your seat.
When I realized.
Looking through the glass at him as he's like, what about me? So, and you didn't know the guy, but so your buddy, like the 2 buddies that did get tickets, and they walked in. What'd they say to you when they walked up?
I was like, Drew's a big dude. He's like 6'5", and I'm like 6'3", so like he's like a big dude, right? And I turned to Jeremiah. I was like, they might try to punch me. Like, Drew might try to punch me. I just hope he doesn't punch me in the face. Like, just don't punch me in the face. And then when they got there, they looked at me and they were, they're my buddies. Like, I've known these guys for a long time.
Smile, were they like, dude?
No. There was no dude whatsoever. They were rightfully pissed. Yeah, it was an epic fuck up.
Honest mistake, though.
Huge, yeah. Honest mistake. Yeah, it was unintentional.
I think they call that unintentional.
Yeah. Well,
intentional or unintentional.
yeah, it hurt, and then for the first for the first quarter, like we're just scoring touchdowns left and right, and for the first quarter, I'm just like, fortunately, we scored touchdowns right away because they would have been, they probably would have been pissed, and I will say to their credit, they went to the alcohol cart like several times and got sufficiently lubricated, so it was all pretty good by the end, it worked out.
You gave him his money back.
I Venmo Drew his money right away. Yep, right away.
And then, but you haven't had a chance to personally apologize to the one buddy.
No, I did send.
Never met.
I did send Drew and Lucas, and they're brothers, by the way. I did send them, and they are what's their team name? One of them is Laporta Potties. That's Drew, and no, that's Lucas. Lucas is Laporta Potties, and Drew is what's Drew? Oh, I think we're experiencing technical difficulties again. Oh. This is not good. Uh-oh. Let's see. Oh, yeah, that's right. How could we forget? Drew is Deshaun's sexual predators, of course. And they didn't punch...
What an awkward... I wouldn't say humiliating, right? Because you don't seem like you have enough shame to be humiliated in public. Like, I know that you would feel bad about it, but like, what's the word for it? Just an awkward scenario. Like everybody in the group probably felt that secondhand awkwardness.
No. I turned to Jeremiah. I was like, dude, I feel like such an asshole. He was like, I'm here. I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
He couldn't have cared less.
Like a top unintentional asshole move you've pulled in your life?
To like a brother, to like a Detroit Lion, nonetheless. A fellow brethren of the den. A Lion of the den.
Do you think that guy's ever going to forget that?
Oh, I mean, that's like the expression, like, you may never forget, but you will forgive, right? Never.
Well, I think he'll probably never forgive you or forget it.
I think there's got to be some redemption. There's got to be like a redemption story here, right? I mean, this is.
You did it to him again. You're like, hey, I want to buy your ticket, and then you forget about it.
No. You know what? You know what happened? Because I had the damnedest time trying to get my ticket. We got there at like
on Yahoo. Were the tickets on Yahoo? I said that. I said as long as the tickets aren't on Yahoo, you won't mess it up.
Oh God, they were on Vivid, and then I had to get it through the Detroit Lions website, and then I had to get that go to Ticketmaster, and then I had to involve two different email addresses. I had to transfer them from one email address to another email address.
Sure.
I mean, I was like, we had a solid hour before the game started, and we were in our seats on time.
It didn't dawn on you until you're in the stadium and they call you to say, "Hey, where is the third ticket?" And you were like, "Oh."
That did not dawn on me.
Yeah, it could have gone worse. Like, imagine you get there with your daughter and you realize you don't have enough tickets and you both have to miss it.
Yeah, you're right, because it could have gone where we had to make a choice, where like a decision had to be made. But
you looked at the seats in front of you and you're like, hey, these are open. Let me just...
If he would have scalped a ticket, then he could have done it. And if Drew and Lucas maybe told him, I'm not sure. He might have been so angry. I'm not sure. But I guess the point being that a decision didn't have to be made, fortunately, at that point, because we were already in the game. But, I mean, just like all the circumstances and how it played out, the fact that they got to the game right as they were kicking off, I think they missed kickoff, actually, because they just got there late. But the fact that...
fan goes up late.
What's that? What kind of... No, they're a fan. They're diehard. Don't worry. Okay. I can vouch. Okay. And, had we all met outside and then I started doing, like, the simple math.
That would have been...
Like, there were 6 of us that rode together. That makes 7,
it would have been like
8,
Home Alone,
9.
Like a Home Alone scene where like someone gets left behind outside.
It's the reverse of that. It's the reverse of that, because they undercounted on that one, and then right there
he did end up going home alone after that.
Oh God.
Like, did they all drive separately? Like, just imagine, like, the parking implications. Like, imagine you pay $50 for parking, and you're told at the stadium gates that you don't have a ticket?
No, he's from. I think they were probably at his place in Detroit, is my guess, and then
You just walk home.
Well, they took the Q line downtown from New Center, and yeah, or just take the train back, But yeah, that would have stunk about the parking. That would have been a bummer. So whoever he is,
Like the redemption story could be that you make it up to him somehow.
right? I think that's got to be it. Yeah.
Yeah, just like a series of over-the-top gestures to win his friendship. And I think he's like telling coworkers, like they're like, "Hey, so how was your weekend?" Well, it was actually pretty traumatic. And why? Well, I went to the Lions game, and a buddy's buddy got me a ticket, but then he sold it to his daughter without telling me. And I showed up. What if he was like full body painted?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just all excited, telling everybody about it.
Super fan. Yeah.
I think we could probably do like a series of like unintentional asshole moments that just haunt you for the rest of your life.
Yeah. I could do a whole series of that for sure. Yeah. Unintentional asshole
You
moments.
handled it as best as you could. You owned up to it immediately. You said, "Hey, I messed up. I'm sorry. Let's try to make it right." That's all you can do.
Yeah, and so I thought just trying to give him some money, and I thought maybe that could help out, and because if it were then I would have just gone to a bar and just started drinking IPAs. I would have gotten some, like a burger and some fries and a bunch of IPAs, and that's what I would have done, and then I would have been feeling pretty good. And
I pass.
You pass. Well, you can get your Merlot or
You're an IPA guy.
Oh yeah.
I don't really get like IPAs are supposed to taste just bitter and hoppy and sour and just really like.
Yeah, it's not for everybody.
Or they just like how it's uncomfortable to have to drink it.
It's not for everybody. It's like a sour. I mean, a sour is like one. I don't even know if you could consider it an invention. It is it's brought here by the spawns of Satan. That's how I feel about
I'm not a fan.
No.
Wait, are pale ales considered IPAs, or are IPAs considered pale ales?
That's a really good question. I do believe that an Indian pale ale is considered a pale ale. So because then you would have an American pale ale would be another option, under the pale ale umbrella, right? So it'd be
okay. Well, I will tell you, I don't necessarily dislike all pale ales.
Well, let me tell you, I do enjoy a pale ale, an IPA.
Can you drink on the podcast? Are you loud?
I just did.
Did you watch the clip I sent you of
the Shane Gillis
Sports Writers Cup?
No, I noticed you sent me a lot of clips.
You gotta check it out, man.
Yeah,
it's pretty funny. So the one guy was like, "Hey, sounds like you need a high noon." He's like, "I'm in recovery."
Nice. I got
the content was very good. It kind of reminded me of the Fore Birdies. I feel like we have a better structure for it. They had really great production value, of course. They're like hundreds of millions of dollars type of company, and we're like hundreds of dollars type of company.
Yeah. Multiple hundreds of dollars, though, into the thousands.
Yeah, you should check it out.
So yeah, that was hanging out at the game. That's what happened. It was fun, like I said, if the Lions hadn't just started laying on the points, then Drew and Lucas might have been a little more frustrated longer. They would have been frustrated longer.
Yeah, 42-24. It's a pretty good win.
Yeah, 42-24. It was 27-3. No, 28-3 at halftime. It was 27-3 against the Packers. I'll say I was listening to a lot of sports talk today. They were talking about some Detroit Lions football. They were talking about the Lions being one of the best in the NFC. I think somebody might have said they were number 2 in the power rankings, but I think, until the Eagles lose a mighty match, if they get beat by an inferior opponent, I should say, then, I'm not going to dethrone the Eagles. And, the Chiefs are still the defending champions. And yeah, the Lions beat them. I wouldn't put the Chiefs over the Lions. I'm just saying maybe that conversation could be had. But the 49ers, I mean, the 49ers are, it looks like, in a class of their own. And they're just solid.
It's fair to say the Lions are a top 10 team right now.
I think you can say the Lions are a top 6 team. I think you'd say, I think why say 10 when you can get down to maybe 6, maybe 5.
One loss they had was the against the Seahawks, and it was an overtime loss, and it was on a controversial last play. Right, they were holding Hutchinson, and did Lockett not have control? Was there some funny business going on? I don't know, but it's not like they lost on the last play. So they could be undefeated right now.
Yeah, it's a little frustrating just having lost the team having lost to the Seahawks last year as well. I was at that game, and man, the Lions couldn't stop a nosebleed. Like Penny was there, and I'm like, Penny's not even that great, and he would just get like 8 or 9 yards a run. He might get like 12, 15, 20 yards, or he might just break free for like an open field touchdown. It was so bad. I think it was like 48-45. The Lions lost.
Listen, for years, whatever running back played against the Lions, they always looked like a total league winner.
Yeah, I could see that.
And so Penny's always had talent, but he just can never stay healthy, which, by the way, he's hurt right now, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, did you see that interception by Hutch? Did you see? He did it with his right, I guess he's left-handed, but he did it with his right hand, his right arm. And man, what a monster. He's got 4 interceptions in his first, 20 games? 22 games? I mean, 4 interceptions as a lineman? Those are like 4 interceptions over the course of 22 games. Rookie coming in as a rookie. That's cornerback talk.
Yeah.
That's like...
As far as the number of sacks and interceptions he has... He's got more, I want to say, interceptions than the top defensive players that were picked in the first round combined.
Come on. What about
great stats about that guy?
Yeah, it's only year 2, and his sister sang the national anthem. I mean, what can't they do?
I didn't know that.
She did, yeah. I don't think it was this week, but it was one of those weeks she sang the national anthem. It was not his super hot sister.
Let me ask you this.
It was his less.
I know you don't do Dynasty, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say you ran a franchise and someone wants Aiden Hutchinson from you. What would you want as far as trade compensation? Is he untouchable, or would you trade him? And if so, what would you need back?
Nick Bosa and Fred Warner.
Okay, so if the 49ers did a trade, you would take...
And Greenlaw.
You would take 3 top end.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I never tried to... I think my Jamar Chase for Garrett Wilson and Najee Harris, I think we'll see. I just had to do something different, I felt, and then Chase put up...
And then Chase put up,
50-some points.
Najee Harris is a great back in a bad situation with a bad offense, and you should probably try to just trade him on name recognition to like the biggest sucker in the league, because he's not going to carry you like you'd want him to.
But I didn't have anybody. Even if I can use him as like a flex and he can pick me up like 13, 14 points a couple weeks. I mean, his projected numbers are cumulative over the course of a player's career.
We should do like a
defending your
times you pronounce cumulative.
Cumulative? Cumulative.
At the Fore Birdies shoot, I think he said it different like 6 times in a row.
It's one of those words. It's one of those words. I don't know, to answer your question about Hutch. Now, give me, having never done a Dynasty League, are you comparing the player on? It would be like their stats, right? You're just comparing.
In Dynasty, you're not just thinking about the stats, but you're thinking: are you trying to compete this year? Are you rebuilding? I mean, anytime you have a great young talented player, it's hard to trade him away. If you're competing, you need that player to win now. If you're trying to rebuild, you already have a young player. Why would you trade him away? So right now I'm competing. I've got some deficiencies at like wide receiver, I don't think I would trade him because defensive linemen in a dynasty league, the setup that I have, it's really hard to find a reliable defensive lineman that you can start every week. There's probably probably 8 to 10 reliable guys.
Yeah, because Watt gets hurt. Like, he's money, but he gets hurt, right?
And so in our league, Watt's not a defensive lineman. He's actually a linebacker, which hurts his value a little bit.
Oh.
So we don't have an edge designation. We don't have an edge rusher. If you're a linebacker that rushes the passer, you're just a linebacker. You're not an actual defensive lineman.
So whatever happened to a defensive end? Does that still exist?
Yeah, but we don't have a defensive end designation, which would be an edge, I guess. So we have linebackers, defensive linemen, which you could have a tackle, or you could have an outside lineman. And then we have defensive backs, and there's no distinction between cornerbacks and safeties. Now, some leagues have like a cornerback slot and a safety slot and a linebacker slot and an edge slot and a tackle. We don't do that.
So let me ask you this: we're like 11 years overdue from a zombie apocalypse. Like, why would I want to start a dynasty league right now?
That's a hard question to prepare for. I mean, it's a hard question to answer if you've never prepared for it, is what I mean.
I think your best defense is that it's not conclusive whether a zombie apocalypse is actually going to happen. I think that's, if I had to prepare a defense, then I'd say, show me the evidence that we are in fact overdue for a zombie apocalypse. I'm not a lawyer or anything, but
why do you say we're overdue?
Well, I mean, don't you remember in like 2009 and 2010 where all those books came out? It was like, Much Ado About a Zombie, and it was like all those like, it was like Little Zombies, all those classic novels. They replaced like some noun with zombie, and then I just remember that there was a zombie phase. You don't remember the whole zombie phase in like the late 2010s?
This is what I think. You never know when there will be a zombie apocalypse, and you still have to live your life and enjoy it. And so if you have an opportunity to start a dynasty league, I wouldn't let the thought of a zombie apocalypse deter you from starting it, because you could be wrong.
Yeah.
It's like, you're not just going to go live in a bunker now just in case. Life goes on. Yeah. Start the league. Have fun. Worst case scenario, the zombie apocalypse wipes out some of the people in the league.
But the network is still active.
The network is still active. You
right.
can always rebuild the league with new people. Is there a show where like zombies aren't necessarily like why are all the zombies always dangerous? Why can't they just be like, okay, I'm a zombie, but I'm not going to mess with anybody? Is there a show that kind of depicts zombies as like they're just kind of a nuisance maybe? Or like they're bad drivers, but they're not trying to kill anybody, and then you just have to deal with them. That'd be kind of a funny show.
Well, I think they've done it in different like avenues. I think like CNN is an example of actually having zombies on air
in real life.
In real life, yeah. It's just I don't think it's crossed over to like the sitcom world or like any kind of just regular TV, I guess.
Did you ever? I think it was Warm Bodies. Not a very well-known show, but I think zombies could be cured, or people were like, zombies have rights too, you can't just kill them.
That's what I'm talking about. It's like there's so many nuances to stupid zombie, like, I don't know, culture, that it's like, oh, we've got like, historical 1700s zombieism. We've got like pirate zombieism. It's like...
I feel like if you have a zombie, like traditional zombies, like, are just full of energy... I'd say put them to work. Just say, hey, I would like to hire you. We got lots of jobs that we need to get done.
I think you have to worry about them like washing their hands and stuff. Like if they're going to serve food, then...
I wouldn't have a zombie in a food service job.
Just manual labor, just sheer manual labor?
Construction, yes.
Yeah.
You don't want to take advantage of them. So what would be fair compensation for a zombie?
Hutch.
If you had to hire them.
Aiden Hutchinson.
You want to have informed consent. Right.
No, that's it. I'm telling you my answer. Aiden Hutchinson is what if we we're doing a zombie fantasy draft, then a dynasty, if we were doing a dynasty, then that's what I would need zombies in return for Aiden Hutchinson.
Do zombies lose their human rights?
I don't know. It's like, are there birth certificates still that are there death certificates that they have to issue? But I don't. I'm not sure.
It's just one of those things about a zombie apocalypse that people don't talk about is like the logistics of how do you ethically treat a zombie. You can't just go around shooting zombies for
right. But I think
violent. If zombies aren't violent, you shouldn't be shooting them for no reason.
But that's the whole thing. Is that like are we gonna go down that path because we don't have any kind of conclusive evidence that zombies do in fact exist. So
I feel like there's a lot of people in society today that would hope there's a zombie apocalypse so they could just, you know what I mean?
Don't you think? Let me ask you this. Don't you think like a football, like what city, if you had to name it could be one of the active, what is it?
Las Vegas.
Yeah, it would have to be the Las Vegas Zombies, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I feel like if zombies could like comprise a football team, like okay, if there's a zombie apocalypse and a lot of healthy people are wiped out, but there's enough healthy people that kind of figure out like, hey, we still need to have entertainment, and they organize a zombie football league.
Yeah,
I think it'd be pretty entertaining.
And it would be in Las Vegas. Like,
let me ask you this: do the zombies wear helmets? Do you have any concern over player safety if it's zombies?
Well, I think it's more of like you don't want like the brains like splattering over other people. So, I that's how I feel.
So let me ask you this: is it zombies and regular people, or just zombies playing in the league?
I don't know, Dave. This is why the subject is so frustrating because there are just so many like wormholes you could go down here. And I really just want to talk about Sam Laporta. I mean, I just want to talk about Sam Laporta. Did you see that guy yesterday?
The dude is a stud, and I didn't see this coming. So I'm impressed with his performance as a rookie tight end. Rookie tight ends typically don't produce, and he's getting it done. And Jared Goff, I'm super surprised by him too.
I think he's the highest PPF numbered QB in the league right now.
I saw something that said that, and I didn't believe it.
Well, it might be true, but then PFF, or is it PFF? I think it's kind of like debatable. What's the, is it actually the quantifier of, who's the best? So I think obviously, but Laporta, okay, I'm not even blowing smoke up your ass here, Dave. During the draft, I was like, let's go. I mean, I didn't know. I wanted Michael Mayer. I mean, of course I wanted Michael Mayer. Everybody's talking about him.
Michael Mayer?
Yeah, Mike. Yeah, speaking of coming back from the dead. Yeah, Michael Mayer. Mayer?
I don't know.
Okay, that doesn't help.
When you watch him, what stands out to you? Is it Jared Goff just doing a good job getting him the ball? Is he a good route runner? Like, what's creating the opportunities for him?
Well, I think he's a good route runner. He's he can sell it. He gets open. I mean, and he's fast. I mean, he had the touchdown against the Packers where he's like wide open. He's just like, see ya. But the blocking's great as well. So I think he does a lot of it. We should probably hand it off to him at some point. But man,
a couple of weeks ago you said his last name was LaPortia. Now
you're
saying Laporta. What's up with the pivot there?
That's a really good point. LaPortia, I just thought was like he's outgrown LaPortia. Now it's like I want to just give him like actual deferential, loyalty to what his real name is. But yeah, I mean, I really you want to know the honest truth why I called him Laporta?
Because that's his name.
Yeah, that's his name exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
let me go for a little bit. That his name LaPortia, and I was like, didn't know that.
Oh, you really believe that?
No, for a second I was like, LaPortia. I could see it being LaPortia. A lot of guys don't know pronunciations like we don't. Is it Devin A Chain or Sean Achin?
A Chaney? I think it's a Chaney. Yeah.
It's a Chain.
Well, I'm getting kind of hot. I'm going to take this sweatshirt off. I'm going to keep this shirt on. So just give me 1 second here.
So let me ask you this then. Let's say you're in a dynasty league and you have Hutchinson. What would you want for him?
Back to the old Hutchinson Dynasty League question. Bosa. I'd want Bosa.
Yeah, just Bosa.
I mean, what? If I have Bosa and you say I'm gonna
way out, Hutchinson is way out producing Bosa at this point. Plus, Bosa's got to be like in his mid-20s, and Hutchinson's like 22 or 23.
Yeah, that's why I said Fred Warner and Bosa. That's why, give me both.
Yeah. Fred Warner is a great fantasy linebacker as well as a real life.
Is he really?
Linebacker.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's probably a top 10 dynasty linebacker.
Yeah.
I think Hutchinson's probably a top 4 defensive lineman in dynasty.
Speaking of Bosa and the 49ers, and Sean Chubbs me another, whatever his name is, Chubbers.
He is Tight End University now. He changed his name.
Oh my gosh, Tight End University. Give me a break.
This is why I think Sean's changing his name. Because I think he's trying to like throw people off the scent of his losing. And people realize they're like, man, Sean was like 0-5. Oh wait, I don't see his name. Maybe he got some wins, and he's like trying to phantomly move up the leaderboard a little bit. I think he'd be better off changing his name to somebody like, here for Jimmy or whatever, right?
Yeah. Here for Jimmy.
I think he's gonna slowly try to like take over her team and like do it a little bit at a time.
What if we all just change our name to something that's
Lane with another interception? It's crazy.
You might be ahead of me. Yeah. What if we all just did that? What if we all just changed our name to some slight variation of somebody else's name?
Or we swap names. That would really screw with people.
That would screw with people. That would really screw with people. Can you do that?
I don't know. He's changed his name 4 times so far. I guess you could just do it as much as you want. In our Dynasty League, you can only change your name. You get 1 free name change, and after that, it's like $5 to change.
Are you serious?
Serious.
I kind of like it where you can change your name a bunch. It adds a little more excitement.
I think it can get kind of confusing, but I think that's what Sean's trying to do. He's trying to confuse people. He's laying low. He's missing the podcast, and he's changing his name. He's hoping people forget that he's 0-5.
Yeah, and he texts the whole group, and he's like, "Oh, this asshole just traded away Jamar Chase." And I'm like, okay, I just put up 165 points, and it might be an unintentional asshole. Yes, maybe I shouldn't have traded Jamar Chase. I don't know. Only time will tell.
Well, it wasn't the trade for Jamar Chase. It was the trade where you gave a ticket to your daughter and for nothing, and then left a guy out in the cold.
But he didn't know about it then. I mean, he didn't. Okay, Sean didn't know about it then. No. But he tries razzing me. I'm like, bro, you're defeated. You're defeated.
Yeah.
You're 0-5. You're gonna make fun of me?
Sean probably doesn't deal with like that many losses. I don't.
No.
And I think this is gonna make him a bigger person.
Oh God, I hope not. How is he gonna get bigger?
No, I meant like maybe more. He comes out of the apartment. He's like, I've been lifting weights in anger for the last 6 days, and he's just like huge.
Just eating mustard and crackers.
I think it's going to make him grow as a person spiritually, mentally.
I think if he heard this, he would just laugh. And then in his mind, he'd probably think like, no, whatever. I think Sean is capable of growth, but...
I can say this. Sean is legitimately losing sleep over this.
He could be, yeah. He's a very competitive person, yeah.
Sean is tossing and turning.
Yeah.
We should find, like, who is the person in the league? Well, I guess it might be, I don't know. You said Cassie has played fantasy football before?
I do believe.
Okay. Who is somebody else that doesn't have, or who is somebody that does not have much fantasy football experience?
I think everybody... Besides, I think you're talking to him.
I think you should vandalize his car with that soap pencil on the back of his car, 0-5, or have pizza delivery guys deliver to hey, we got a pizza for Owen.
Owen Fiver. He should change his name to Owen Fiver.
He is not eliminated from contention for the playoffs. All you got to do is get to the playoffs. He could still make the playoffs because it is top 6 teams make the playoffs, but his work is cut off for him.
So you're saying there's a chance?
I'm saying there is a chance.
I just want to wrap up. I do want to talk a little bit more Lions football, and then I've got a couple of things I did notice over the weekend that I have to talk about. You might have a couple of things as well. I don't know if you caught Coach Dan Campbell's post-game speech, but man, every time you hear him talk, you're just like, oh my God. Like, they talk about players want to run through walls for this guy, and
that phrase is funny because, like, what?
Right, that's the whole thing.
Like, does he make you want to run through a brick wall or into a brick wall? Because I would just run into it and I would be able to run through it.
Well, that's the thing. He's wanting you to do the impossible.
Yeah.
And you're believing it.
I thought this guy, when he gave the speech about biting kneecaps, I thought, how dumb is this speech? This speech is dumb. But he's proven me wrong. I wouldn't say I was a hater or a doubter, but I was a little bit skeptical. I thought, this guy is just bizarre.
And you know that the 3 toes and 1 kneecap, got that confused. He said, I don't care if you have 3 toes and 1 ass cheek. That's what he says. It wasn't a kneecap. He said, I don't care if you have 3 toes or 1 and 1 ass cheek. We're going to beat your ass. And it's like, what he really meant, he came out after the fact. He said, I just like transposed it. I really meant, this is what I meant to say. I don't care if we have 3 toes and 1 ass cheek. We're still going to whoop your ass. But yeah, that's.
Oh, okay. I did see that clip, and I was like, okay, so you would beat up a big person. Okay. I was like, yeah, it's cool. No mercy, no matter what. What's going on with you? We're gonna beat your ass. So he meant he doesn't care if they only have 1 ass cheek. They're still gonna. I took it to mean you could knock us down, but we're gonna get right back up, and you knock us down again, we're gonna bite your kneecaps.
Well, that was a different speech. That was a different one. That was his.
He's got good speeches.
That was his introductory as a coach. The 3 toes and 1 ass cheek. That's the Hard Knocks first episode.
I didn't watch Hard Knocks.
Gotta see it. I mean, it was this.
I feel like the players have bought in. The Lions have something they've never really had before. They have faith. They have trust in the system. They have the right players, that believe. Mm-hmm. So that hope. Hope.
And at the same time, my highs are not like incredibly high. Like we kicked the Lions kicked the Packers' ass, and it was a great win. But it was week 4. You know what I mean? Like, and man, we've been piling up the injuries. Do you see that Mosley's out now? Emmanuel Mosley, he just returned from an ACL tear in his left knee, I think it was. Week 5 of last year with San Francisco, where he goes in on the second play this weekend. Week 5 tears his right ACL, and now he's freaking out. The team's already down C.J. Gardner-Johnson, so he's already out.
Like Amon-Ra, abdominal injury, he missed the game.
Yeah,
is this a serious injury?
You're right. Is Mosley's or what?
Well, Amon-Ra.
His is abdominal, like you said. I don't think it is. I think if it were like a playoff game, how I kind of understand it, if it were a playoff game, maybe he would have gone out there and tried to play. But just the opponent, they thought, let's let him get some rest. My boy BB, Brian Branch, my favorite. I'm telling y'all, he was my favorite when we got him. That guy's got heart and soul. He's one of the best. He's one of the best cornerbacks in the league already.
Yep, I just thought of a business idea for Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Let's hear it.
It's a noodle shop downtown Detroit. Almond Ramen.
Almond Ramen. Oh, Almond Ramen. No, we can't let that go.
If he had a shop, a noodle shop called Almond Ramen, everyone's going there before the
game.
The game, after the game. He could have a sponsorship with Top Ramen. Top Almond Ramen.
Dave, I think that's like $1 million idea right there.
It could be $100 idea or more. Almond Ramen.
I think it's more than $100 idea. I think it's at least a $200 idea.
Thousands
of dollars.
I think if you opened up a little stand outside of the stadium and you sold almond ramen, you'd probably do all right. But you'd have to probably cut him.
You got to think bigger. You got to think bigger. I think you need something on Woodward. I think you need something somewhere in the city. Maybe New Center. You need
get a hold of Amon Ra and ask him if he could, well, I don't have. I'm an idea man. I can't implement this. I'm not in Detroit. Can you open up a ramen noodle shop? You have to ask Amon Ra if you can use this.
Yeah, if he'll partner.
Yeah. What would he say? Like, what would be the first step to getting him involved on that?
Well, I got a buddy on the team, or who played for the team. He's, maybe I could ask him. Maybe if he can put me in touch with Amon. I don't know if he knows this guy. I don't know if he knows my boy, but we could, I could ask him. I could ask him at least.
Okay. Amon.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you're like really persuasive enough, you there are ways. Like I think even like a Facebook post, you're like, hey, anybody know friends with anybody on the team? Like, I've got a legit business idea that I need to partner with one of these guys about. If you can like give me a shout, like let's talk. And I think people would be like, yeah, okay, let's. What's this idea you got? As long as you tell the people that it's a couple $100 idea.
It's multiple hundreds of dollars. You can't guarantee it, though.
I guarantee it. You can't guarantee it. I guarantee it.
So, what would stop other people from having their own almond ramen shops? It'd have to be it'd be like the Ray's Pizza. Everyone says that they're the original. You'd have to do it better than everyone else.
If
Almond Ra served noodles like once a week there, but you never knew what day it was going to be. He always popped in to serve noodles. You'd probably have more business if people were like, hey, man,
you think?
He's here. Yeah.
Well, with Ray's Pizza, now, I mean, is there a story to that? What is that?
I think that in New York City, there's a bunch of Rays, and they all say that they're the original Rays.
Yeah.
The movie Elf kind of talks about which one actually is the original Rays.
Oh, do they really?
There's nothing stopping someone from saying that they are the original Rays.
So, yeah, do you think maybe what had happened was enough of these shops opened, they copied the name in like the 30s and the 40s, and then just maybe there are already like 12 of them in the city, and they're like, we can't figure it out?
This might be a dumb statement, but I don't think pizza shops were around in the 30s and 40s in New York.
I think they were.
I don't know.
I think by the 40s at least.
I don't know. I just can't think of like in pop culture history examples of like pizza shops being around in the 30s and 40s.
Well,
I would think that's like a 50s and 60s thing.
Maybe we can get the statisticians on that.
Get Jeremiah on that.
The old statisticians.
That's something to look into for next week.
Hey, Dave.
Next episode.
I know. Let me make note of that. Ray's Pizza. Let me ask you something, Dave. Let me ask you a question here. What do you think about the stupid fucking name of a tush push? What do you think of that? Does that make you want to just drive on into like oncoming traffic?
This is what I think. Teams know it's coming.
No. I don't mean that's
you
not.
Think about the name.
Yeah, the whole name of it. Come on, a tush push, a tush push.
I'm trying to think if there was a different name besides a tush push.
Yeah, like any other name.
It doesn't get to me.
It doesn't.
Why don't they call it a cheek sneak?
Yeah, a cheek sneak. That's better.
We're coming up with better shit like right off the bat.
Yeah.
There's no preparation.
Anything's better than a tush push. Like I'm not like I don't think a lot of things are sacred, but I do think like the physicality of the game of football is. I'm just simply saying it's like I think of football as like the most physical sport, right? Rugby maybe is another, obviously, but it's like it's physical, and to have like the word tush like put into the sport of football, to me it's almost disrespectful. And I'm not even being hyperbolic. I'm honest to God like annoyed by it. Any other ideas you got there?
It's undignified. If I'm Jalen Hurts and I'm putting my body on the line to make a play and get in the end zone, and someone's saying that I had a tush push, I'd feel a little bit weird about it. I wonder if it gets to him as much as it gets to you. I feel like a glute scoot or a
Ooh.
cheek sneak would
Yeah.
also be as ridiculous.
The glute scoot. I like that.
The glute scoot.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I'll think of some more. I don't know why you shouldn't be able to pick up a teammate and carry him across the line. But I think that was a rule in years past. You couldn't do that, but now you can do that. I've seen like running backs pick their quarterbacks up and carry them.
Yeah, you can't do that. No.
It happens. It happened over the weekend. I forget which play it was, but the running back came up behind him, picked the guy up.
Did it really? Wow.
And they don't call it.
That doesn't seem. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
if the other team knows it's going to happen and they still can't stop it, I don't know. I guess what you could do, like, what would be a way to stop that play? Like, you think they would?
Yeah,
not even like.
At that point, it's almost like you got to be able to do like a chop block, right? Like if they're gonna do that, then it's like, okay, what? Like, how else are you supposed to stop it? There's no other physical way to stop it.
I think the defense has to go low, and then you have because how often do they run the side? It's pretty much directly behind the center.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, maybe it's the snap advantage. You know when it's coming. You don't want the other team. The other team's worried about jumping off sides, and then it's a moot point.
I got one.
Why can't other teams do it as effectively as the Eagles? Is it that Jalen Hurts can squat 1,000,000 pounds?
What about this one? What about an ass crash?
Oh man, okay. Ass
Or an ass smash?
It doesn't have the same ring to it.
No, it doesn't. No, you're right.
What about a crack attack?
Crack? I mean, honestly, anything is better than a tush push.
Yeah.
It
started with the bush push. That's why they came up with tush push.
There's really a bush push?
There was the bush push. That was when Matt Bush. Reggie Bush pushed Matt Liner into the end zone.
Okay, well, I get that.
Heisman over it.
Oh, was that it? That's why he lost a Heisman?
I think so.
I thought there was like cheating with Pete Carroll.
I think what it was Reggie Bush got a really good job on campus, making like $400,000 a year.
Yeah,
like in the library or something.
Oh, clever! They left the money in the books. I like that. Good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. The last place any.
You know what I think is funny, and I don't have all the details, but basically with it's NIL deals, right?
Mm.
Like college athletes can basically get paid, and for years they fought it, right? And there's probably so many ridiculous rules violations that occurred over the years, and like athletes' futures were ruined and coaches' careers were ruined because of this improper benefits, and now they're just paying kids millions of dollars. And
yeah, they're getting paid too.
They held off as long as they could, and they're like, all right, fuck it, whatever, just whatever you want. If you want to get paid, that's okay.
Yeah.
But what I don't understand is how did Harbaugh get self-sanctioned suspended for 4 games over buying a recruit a burger? Like,
I don't know. I mean, they say just a burger, and maybe it only was a burger, but at the same time, it's like, oh, it was just a burger? Yeah, you're like, it sounds like more than a burger. It doesn't sound like a nothing burger, if you ask me.
The cover-up is worse than the crime.
Yeah, perhaps. Can I tell you something? Speaking of college football, can I tell you something that I saw this weekend that just like mind-numbingly terrible football coaching? Miami versus Georgia Tech. So Miami's up like 23-20, something like that, maybe 24-20, something along those lines. And there's like 2 minutes remaining. They pick up a first down, and Georgia Tech, they have 3 timeouts. They take a timeout. Miami, they run it again. They run the football again. Georgia Tech takes another timeout. They only have 1 timeout left. And there are about like 1:18 seconds left. It's 3rd down. And or it's 2nd down going into the 3rd down. And they have 1 timeout left. Georgia Tech has 1 timeout left. So do the math, right? So it's like 2nd down just ended. It's like 1:18 on the clock. There are 40 seconds on the play clock. run it. Just wind it down. You're going to third down. Just wind it down. It's gonna you're gonna win by 3 seconds or something. Just kneel it. Kneel the ball. Did you see this?
I did see it. I didn't see it live.
I didn't see it live either. I didn't see it live.
They were like, that would be the time to just take the knee, run out the clock. They ran it, got like a 6-yard gain, fumbled it. But then there was enough time where Georgia Tech had 3 really great plays in a row, ended up scoring a touchdown.
Yeah, the dude is wide open. He just walked in.
They're saying that is like probably the worst coaching decision, and they called it at the time. The commentators and announcers,
they're like, "Well, it's time to kneel."
Like, this is one of those things that it happens like once every 40 years, where a team will do something like this.
Where one man is so
and literally every other team after this will always like psych the situation. You always run the clock out. Yeah, it's a punk way to win a game. But that's just how the rules are. You have to do it as smart.
A punk way?
Like, was it the Eagle? Like, who did this?
Why is it a punk way, though? I guess
nobody wants to watch it. The victory formation is just a lame way to end a game, but teams do it. There's no rule saying you can't do it. It looks bad. The other team is always frustrated.
I'm way on.
I don't like watching a game end like that. It's very anticlimactic. Climactic?
Cumulative.
I don't like, but it's anti-cumulative.
Yeah.
But teams do it to secure the win. And I don't know what the coaches were thinking. Was there a clock mistake? It was third down they were running it on. It wasn't fourth down, was it?
No, I believe it was third. Maybe it might have been fourth down. But however, the fact was that if they would have kneeled it.
Yeah, they could have just knelt down.
If they would have knelt, yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I guess I'm still caught up a little bit with the. It's like. An easy way out of the victory. I don't see it like that. I don't see it as being I don't know if you meant like disrespectful or anything like that. So when
it's an entertaining way to watch.
Of course, but I mean, at some point you just got to win the game. In the NBA, if you're blowing another team out, and then one of the players who's blowing the other team out goes down, or even like the losing team. If they go down and they do like a windmill jam or something, then the other team takes it personally. And they're like, okay, like you should have done that. Like whatever, who cares? You're a professional basketball player. Go dunk a ball, who cares? But in football, I don't see it being the same. I see that as that's what happens. Like you don't take that chance. You can never take that chance to the ball fumbling and then turning it over, the other team gets it. Mind you, Dave, I don't know if you saw, but that guy's elbow was down. The Miami dude's elbow. I mean, like, it was really close, and they even went to the review, and they still...
Was the ball coming loose before the elbow touchdown?
That's where maybe there wasn't conclusive evidence to overturn it, because they ruled it a fumble. So that's where maybe they were like, okay, because another guy did kind of block it a little bit, so it wasn't 100% evident if the ball was already being jarred loose. But from how I saw it play in real time and then the replays, it looked like the guy's elbow was down, and then right when his elbow's down, the ball gets pried loose. That's how I saw it. But still, I mean, it's almost karma. I mean, that's karma right there, too. Like, if you're dumb enough to run the ball at that point or throw the ball, not kneel it, then you deserve to lose.
What I don't get, Alex, is how there could be so many coaches on the sideline. And
yeah.
It's not like it's just one coach making that decision with no other oversight, but you'd think somebody would say, Coach, let's do this instead.
Okay, yes, and I've been part of a coaching part of a coaching staff, coach manager that is in basketball. I think some of the coaches they might be too intimidated by the head coach, and they might not have the courage to go up to the coach and be like, hey, we need to kneel the ball right here, and we're going to win. And, the head coach might, like, blow a gasket. Don't tell me how to run my program. Don't tell me what play to call. I mean, I'm not sure, but I know that kind of stuff.
An offensive coordinator and a coach? Like, wouldn't the offensive coordinator say, like, do you think there'd be some sort of checks and balances system
You would think. Okay, another thing was the Baltimore drops. Do you see how many drops the Baltimore receivers had?
Yeah, I watched Bateman have that terrible drop in the end zone.
Yeah, I saw that one, yeah.
You're on thin ice with me.
God forbid. You might have to call him.
I dropped him. The dude just...
Did you let him know?
You're healthy. I didn't let him know. I did not call him ahead of time. I just straight up cold dropped him.
Yeah.
Didn't even give him a heads up. He's going to check into the facility, and his card's not going to work.
That's not good.
He's going to be swiping it. He's going to call tech, and they're like, well, hey, you're not part of the team anymore, dude. Sorry.
Your privileges have been revoked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so apparently what I heard...
If you could somehow get to a stadium and post a sign where the players go in at and said, like, Rashad Bateman, you're no longer welcome here, and then have it look official.
Yeah.
Be like,
So what I had heard was that the receivers coach, he had them practice with rugby balls, and they were catching rugby balls throughout the week, and that their hands were like getting used to catching like a different kind of ball. And so apparently Rex Ryan was on like ESPN, one of the ESPN shows, and he did some kind of segment where you can see the guy's hands are like they're ready to catch a rugby ball apparently, or like something bigger than a football, and their hands just weren't like tight, ready to catch a football, and that's why they dropped a bunch of passes.
I don't know what the mindset would be there. I would imagine a rugby ball, is it harder to catch or easier to catch?
It's easier to catch.
Why would they do that?
I don't know. We just talked about like the terrible coaching decision, and right before this, and it just bleeds into another apparent bad coaching decision. Because wouldn't you think that like you're gonna go the opposite? You're gonna be like, okay, we're gonna get these really small footballs.
They should play with maybe like NCAA size footballs, or a little bit smaller than an NFL football, aren't they?
I don't know. I'm not sure actually. But I mean, don't you think you would play with like a junior football, like a pee-wee football or something?
I would say play with the actual football and practice with the football that you're going to play the game with.
Well, I think like the issue.
Some of these drops are just so fundamental. Like, you got to look the ball in before you turn upfield, but guys are, I don't know if they're hearing footsteps or they're getting too excited, but how do you get to that level and you fundamentally can't catch the ball? Like, that's literally your job. You're a wide receiver. You catch a ball.
Something else that I noticed yesterday was I was scrolling through Reddit, and I think it's like it's NFC North Meme Wars, and it's something like that. One of the subreddits. Well, they're always razzing one of the teams in the division, and they're like, look at the state of the Vikings subreddit right now. And you go in there, they've screen videoed, so it's like scrolling up. All these people are talking about Hawkinson. And they're like, when are we off of this contract? Why did we pay this guy so much money? Yes, already.
Fan base. They loved him. They loved him like 3 weeks ago.
They loved him. But now they're just so bitter because I guess he couldn't catch any balls. They're like, the only ball he can catch is if it's right in the breadbasket.
I didn't know that. I didn't watch that game intently.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this. As far as the Vikings go and injuries and concerns there, Justin Jefferson pulled up on a non-contact, hamstring injury.
Yeah.
He didn't finish out the game. They needed him at the end, and he was not on the field.
Yeah.
So what does that say about his availability going forward?
It's limited.
Yeah, I would think.
I'm not a doctor.
If the game's on the line and you're choosing to not be on the field, but you're not getting worked on by a trainer, what does that even mean? Like, how are you? You're not in the medical tent. You're not in the locker room. You're not on the table.
Yeah, you don't want to go back. You don't want to.
So we got the tush push. We got the glute scoot. We got
the ass crash.
What was the other one? Glute scoot. The crack
attack. The crack attack. Yeah.
There was one more that was good.
Yeah.
It was the cheek sneak.
Oh, yeah, it was the cheek sneak. That's right, yeah. I do like the cheek sneak is actually so I think the difference.
How about the anus caboose.
I don't know if you're on thesaurus.com or anything, but the thing with the tush push, and I will say this, is that they push the tush. So that's different than a cheek sneak because that's like, it doesn't imply.
He's sneaking it, and they're pushing his cheeks.
Yeah, but there's no push in there. There's no like forward pushing that we're alluding to. So here's the thing: if there's anybody who's watching this video and they've got any suggestions, something better than the tush push, I think we do have some good.
Comment below with your suggestion if you think you can do better.
Yeah. The butt putt, maybe the butt putt. I don't know.
I thought about that, the butt putt. But
yeah, not as good. I mean it. Oh God, I don't. Okay, what do you got going on? What do you got going on the rest of the week? What do you got going on? You got the kiddos. You just hanging out and doing the work, huh? And managing a fantasy football team.
Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna try to get something set up for the stream, the podcast down in the basement. Maybe get like a separate desk set up and a different like drop. And, yeah. I might do some woodworking projects. I might build a loft bed for my daughters. So I'm a okay woodworker, but I feel like I'm take a stab at it. You know, it's only going to cost me like $300 in materials. Hours of time.
Yeah, nothing that nothing like
plans. I'm making plans to build a loft bed.
Yeah, nothing like experimenting with your woodworking skills, with the safety of your children. So
I would over-engineer it. It's going to be like
okay.
Yeah, if it can't hold 1,000 pounds, I'm not going to build it.
They're going to be big girls.
Just in case, I don't want to future-proof it. I don't have to rebuild it. You know what I mean?
Okay, can I tell you one last tangent here? It was like 600, like my 600-pound life or something. And it's these two sisters talking to like a nutritionist, and they're talking about the diet, and the nutritionist is asking like, what did you drink growing up? What did you eat? And the girls are like, well, we drank sodies. And then like they're like, oh, and then the lady, she's like, oh, so you mean like a soda? They're like, yeah, we had sodies, hee hee. And then they're like, oh, she's like, did you drink anything else? And then they're like, well, they're huge, mind you. And they're like, well, well, our mom told us that if we drank diet sodies, then it would cancel out all the sugar from the original sodies.
And that ended up being false.
And now they're really big, yeah. Now they're really big. So just...
Diet soda is terrible for you.
Yeah, diet soda is probably worse than regular soda.
Arguably, yes.
Yeah. So...
Non-artificial sweetener kind of guy.
No. I just drink...
I'd rather have the real thing.
Yeah, for sure. I just drink IPAs or Zevias. IPAs and Zevias. Yeah. Okay.
Well, good sesh, man.
Yeah, good. Well, I guess I'll talk I don't know when we play each other, but we're going to wrap this up. And thanks to everybody for watching. It's been a fun one. Or listening. Yep. However you're consuming this, you're probably watching it because it's on YouTube. But once we get on a podcast format or something, then... Well, thanks everybody for listening and watching and having a good time. And we'll see you next time on the Fore Birdies podcast.